Welcome to Ease Podcast, where minds ignite, exploring learning day and night. Educators thrive, young minds grow, in science, tech, and art skills flow. Classroom pride to make us survive. Ease opening minds, the future strive. Welcome to Ease Podcast.
This podcast is produced by EASE, the European network of STEAM educators, uniting STEAM educators from Europe and all over the world. This product may contain traces of artificial intelligence inside. Join us and find a handful of educational resources at easeeducators.com.
Welcome to the 14th edition of the EASE podcast. I'm Elena, your host from the European network of STEAM educators. Today we're exploring 3 revolutionary forces reshaping education: artificial intelligence, teacher leadership, and interactive technology. Let's start with the AI and the bad teacher dilemma. While headlines scream about robots replacing teachers, reality tells a different story. Recent research at Chadley Benjedid University reveals something fascinating. Students actually admire their human teachers more than ever. Yes, AI excels at administrative tasks and personalized feedback, but it lacks empathy, cultural understanding, and the ability to foster critical human relationships. The consensus is clear: AI should enhance, not replace educators.
Have you ever spoken to someone and they didn't seem to hear you? Until you moved closer, looked them straight in the eyes, and suddenly they were paying attention? Or maybe you thought your child was too busy to hear you, but then you found out they had memorized every single word you said? Or perhaps, like me, you were the kind of child who needed to touch everything, smell, taste, feel the world around you, leaving your parents in a constant state of panic. These are not just some random habits. This is how we learn. Some of us learn best when we see, some when we hear, and some, like me, when we experience things with our hands. But in today's world, our eyes do most of the work. Screens are everywhere. Now, let me ask you a question. Who here checks their phone every hour? Of course, not me. I'm just 11. I don't check my phone every hour. But here's where things get interesting. AI is here. AI is transforming education, and it's happening fast. Estonia has already announced that by September 2025, over 20,000 students and 3,000 teachers will have free access to AI tools in education. And right now, anyone with a device can use AI. But is this a good thing or a bad thing? Imagine this. What if instead of a teacher, we had AI run in the classroom? AI doesn't get tired, AI doesn't forget things. AI can explain the same thing 100 different times in 100 different ways using different examples, different voices, making learning fun and interactive. AI could be the perfect teacher, right? Sounds amazing, doesn't it? Well, not so fast. Because I spoke to some experts, people who study how children learn, and they told me something very important. We don't just learn from words, we learn from emotions. Think about it. When someone says, "I'm fine," do they always mean it? Or do you look at their faces, hear the way they say it, and feel something is wrong? Our teachers do the same. They don't just teach us facts, they teach us through emotions. If I stand here like this, you know something's wrong, right? And if I do this, you feel welcomed. No words needed. Also, when my mom raises an eyebrow, I already know I might be in trouble. No way I can do that. Studies show that learning happens best when emotions are involved. When a child doesn't feel any emotion from the teacher, good or bad, they lose interest in learning. And AI has no feelings. Did you know that ants and bees talk through chemicals? They release smells called pheromones that tell each other where to go. Mammals, like dogs or horses, they use sound and touch. Chimps, they go even further. They make eye contact. But humans, we are different. We don't just communicate. We change how another person feels with our words. Imagine something bad happens at school or in this world. A real teacher sees how we react. They explain it to us. They help us understand. AI, AI doesn't know how we feel. It can't adjust to the mood of the classroom. And this matters because education is not just about learning facts. It's about transforming knowledge into life skills. There's something else. Screens, AI, too much technology at a young age can be dangerous. It can be addictive, even more than some drugs. If we don't use AI wisely, it can take over instead of helping us. So, is AI good or bad for education? The answer is neither. AI is a tool, and like any tool, it depends on how we use it. AI can be an amazing assistant, but never a replacement for a real teacher. AI can help us learn, but only if used responsibly. So don't fear AI in education. Use it, but use it wisely. And most importantly, never forget that the best learning happens when we connect face-to-face, heart-to-heart. Thank you.
As that video perfectly illustrated, AI is a powerful assistant, not a replacement for human educators. Now let's explore teacher leadership in our technology-rich world. The research Empowering Education Through Teacher-Technology Collaboration reveals a crucial truth. Digital transformation succeeds only when driven by innovative teacher leadership. It's not just about mastering gadgets, it's about becoming the bridge between technology and learners. Teachers with strong leadership skills create higher student engagement, foster collaborative cultures, and ensure smart learning systems actually work. Based on data from vocational education competitions, we see a powerful chain reaction. Teacher leadership drives blended management, which boosts learner engagement, ultimately elevating entire campus cultures. The message is clear. Schools must invest in teacher training for digital skills and encourage distributed leadership.
Facilitated leadership is something that I think has to be in a modern school, particularly in a large school. Now, by distributed leadership, I mean that while the school principal might be the last stop in the chain, there are a lot of other people who have the power to make decisions, to shape activities, that the responsibility of running the school is shared among a number of people. That's what my understanding of distributed leadership is. So I would think that in establishing school partnerships, you can't do it unless you have distributed leadership, because the principal can't do this all by themselves. They have too many other administrative tasks to do. But a distributed leadership pattern will allow you to use the powers, use the strengths, if you like, of your staff. You have, say, a staff involved in business studies, for example. They can be in charge in liaising with local industries and all the benefits that can accrue to a school. You may have teachers who are very interested in international project work. They can be involved in e-twinning. They can bring the rest of the world into your school through these virtual platforms, through virtual project work. But you can't do that as a school principal. You have to empower and trust these people to do it for you. And yes, I think that you can't have school partnerships without distributed leadership, in my opinion.
That video highlighted how teacher leadership transforms digital tools into powerful learning catalysts. Let's dive into the exciting world of interactive technologies transforming STEAM classrooms. A groundbreaking study with 150 high school students compared traditional teaching methods with GeoGebra and augmented reality tools. The results? Students using these interactive technologies showed significantly greater understanding of geometric concepts and much higher engagement levels. These tools allow learners to visualize and manipulate three-dimensional objects, turning abstract mathematical theories into tangible experiences. This research validates constructivist and experiential learning theories, proving that thoughtfully integrated technology makes learning more immersive and intuitive. Most importantly, these tools accommodate diverse learning styles, making STEAM education truly accessible and inclusive for every student.
There's only a few good resources that really help you learn the math for machine learning. Learning mathematics can be very intimidating, and I have been through this. So I want to show you some of the best resources that help me, and I hope that it helps you too. I've looked at factors like how much these resources cost, how accessible it is, the quality of teaching, do they have exercises that will help you reinforce the concepts that you learn, and most importantly, how easy is it to understand the difficult concepts? Like, for example, do they use illustrations to explain these complex concepts? I reviewed resources ranging from textbooks all the way to online courses and including some YouTube videos. However, one thing that I didn't review is the workshops because, number one, workshops are hard to access. You have to sit through the entire workshop, and not to mention you probably have to pay for it. And there's just too many of them. In the end, I will reveal the best resource that I would prefer if I had to start from scratch all over again. So stay tuned for that. I also want to know which of these resources you would prefer, so let me know down below after you see this entire list. Before I reveal all of them, I want to mention that some of the resources explain certain concepts well and miss out on a few other concepts. So as I go along for each resource, I will mention which concepts they explain really well and which concepts they don't. Disclaimer here, I'm not sponsored by any of them, and what you see are my personal and honest opinions. Let's start with the first resource. This is a course that's on Coursera, but they also have videos on YouTube. And obviously on Coursera, if you want to do the assignments and quizzes, which I highly recommend, you will need to pay for their monthly subscription. But if you wish to only audit the course, you can do that for free. What if you audit the course completely and then take on the assignments and quizzes? That might save you some time and money. Something to think about. The course I'm talking about is the Mathematics for Machine Learning Specialization by Imperial College London. Overall, I think that this course is well structured to learn linear algebra and multivariate calculus, but it stops short of teaching statistics and probability theory, so you will need to find a separate course for that. I do like the video's style of teaching, but I think the exercises are not rewarding enough, and they don't seem to have a forum to discuss and ask questions. The second resource is also on Coursera, but I think this is a way better course for two specific reasons. They have a forum, and if you can find people to learn with together, believe me, it goes a long way. The course I'm talking about is the very popular Mathematics for Machine Learning and Data Science Specialization course by deeplearning.ai. The second reason why I think this is a really good course to start with is they cover statistics and probability theory in addition to linear algebra and calculus. These topics are essential for machine learning. Since this is an intermediate level course, you can check out the prerequisites here to make sure you are well equipped before you begin the course. They also have programming exercises that will help you reinforce the concepts, but you have to pay for it, of course. By the way, if you don't know how to audit a course without paying for it, let me quickly show you how you can do that on Coursera. First, what you need to realize is they have a course with multiple modules. So for example, let's look at the Mathematics for Machine Learning and Data Science Specialization course here. And it says here that you can enroll for free, but if you click on that, it says start free trial. Now, do not start the free trial because you will have to provide a credit card and it will start charging you after a certain period of time, in this case, about 7 days. So instead, what you do is just close this, and if you scroll down, it says a 3-course series here. So if you click on that, you've got 3 different courses here. So select on the first one if that's the one that you want to start with. You just select that, and oh, it looks like I've already enrolled in this, so let me just go back. So let's say I want to start with probability and statistics. So when I click on this here, it says enroll for free. Now, if I click on this here down below, now you can see that button for button to audit the course. So you can click that and just go straight to the course. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to save your card details or anything there. Now, when I started learning AI and ML, the first course that I took was on Coursera. It was a course by Andrew Yang. It was a beginner level machine learning course, which I don't think is available on Coursera anymore, which is very sad because I think that's the best course I took, hands down. We had to program everything from scratch using Octave, and it was amazing. Anyway, I digress. This course is very solid, covers most concepts you need as a beginner. And if you want to get into to deep learning, they have a separate course on that too. The only downside with these courses is time and availability. Obviously, to do the assignments, you will probably have to pay some money. So that's where availability comes into the picture. And as you can see, the course says you probably need about 3 months to learn the entire thing. So there's a lot of time that you will be investing in it, which is not necessarily a bad thing given the fact that you will be learning so much in depth. So it will take you a while to complete these assignments and courses. But again, if you need access to the assignments and a certificate at the end of it, you will have to pay up for it. So let's say you don't want to pay, but you still want the best resources, then your best bet is these two fantastic books. Personally, I've used them to learn many concepts, and these two books complement each other very well. But don't worry, you don't need to read both the books completely. The first book I'm talking about is The Elements of Statistical Learning by Trevor Hasty, Robert Tibshirani, and Jerome Friedman. I use this book to read and learn the concepts, and to practice example problems and coding, I used their second book, which is An Introduction to Statistical Learning with Applications in Python, written by Garrett James and co. With these two books, you almost don't need to refer anything else. Both these books are free to download and covers almost all the concepts you need as a beginner. Although the chapters in these two books don't exactly line up, they do overlap quite a lot. The good thing is they also have sections on deep learning if that's your ultimate goal. And if you want a hard copy of these books, check out the links in the description. Now here's the downside to these resources. Unlike the courses on Coursera, you don't get visualizations via a video. However, there are some very good illustrations that I am okay with. If you're someone who needs video visualizations of concepts, then there's a couple of YouTube channels that I highly recommend. The number one being 3 Blue 1 Brown with some fantastic illustrations. However, you might not find an explanation for all the concepts that you need. When it comes to deep learning, I find Andrei Karpathy's series to be one of the best to follow. There's also video lectures of Andrew Ng on YouTube by Stanford Online, the CS229 playlist. However, you cannot learn by just watching YouTube videos. By the way, while I was doing this deep dive into different resources, I came across old videos of Andrew Ng's course I mentioned earlier. It's all on YouTube on Deep Learning AI's channel. I will leave the link in the description. These videos seem like they have almost zero programming, but they're still a good place to start. Also, these videos are for absolute beginners, so if you want to learn more advanced topics and concepts, you may need to refer to other resources that I mentioned. It made me feel good for some reason looking at these old lecture videos. Anyway, one thing you should know is always supplement YouTube videos with a book or an exercise to reinforce what you learned. If you need more resources, I found this GitHub page with links to more resources. Do check it out, link will be in the description. Now that you have all these resources, if I were to start over again, all over from scratch, here's how I would do it. If I knew nothing about machine learning, I would start with the Deep Learning AI's course I mentioned earlier on Coursera, or the lectures from Andrew Ng on YouTube. Side by side, I will also refer to the two textbooks that I mentioned to learn more about any concepts that I don't understand from the videos. Most definitely, what I will try and focus on is to try and code from scratch all the concepts that I learned. Remember, if your goal is to learn the math concepts in machine learning, it doesn't matter which resource you pick as long as you learn it thoroughly. But if it helps, try to pick very specific resources that you will commit to use and discard the other resources. It might just end up being a distraction. Stick to the resources that you choose and only go for other resources if you don't understand a particular concept. So let me know which of these resources you would prefer. And if there's a resource that is really good, that you think is really good and I have not mentioned here, do let us know in the comments below. And while you're there, support me by hitting the like button. It goes a long way. Thank you so much. Having resources is one thing, but you still need a plan to learn effectively. So here's a video that will do just that. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.
As demonstrated in that video, interactive technologies like GeoGebra and AR are revolutionizing how students experience mathematical concepts. So what does this all mean for the future of education? The answer isn't choosing between humans and machines, it's orchestrating a powerful partnership. AI and digital tools amplify the irreplaceable qualities of teachers rather than replacing them. Educators remain absolutely central to fostering critical thinking, creativity, and social-emotional skills that no algorithm can replicate. Their leadership ensures technology serves as a catalyst for deeper engagement and learning, not a cold substitute for human connection. As we move forward, our success depends on three key investments: comprehensive teacher development, ethical AI integration, and creating interactive learning environments that prepare students for tomorrow's complexities while keeping education profoundly human.
AI is amazingly brilliant at pattern recognition. By the time you become a postdoc, you're down to an incredibly narrow domain of depth of specialization. So you actually can't see what's happening in even closely related domains. The AI can, if we train it to do that. So actually turning AIs into collaborators as research assistants can be incredibly powerful for us, but that does require us to learn a whole bunch of new skills. How is a manager going to divide tasks between the human workers and the digital workers? Today, most of the AI that we think about is a collaborative tool for an individual contributor. It's not yet been thought through about how do you apply it to a team. In an era where humans live longer and where we don't know the jobs of 10 years' time, the one thing that we absolutely have to teach people is learning to learn.
Yes.
It's absolutely like a critical thing that we need to do a lot more on. And actually learning science and neuroscience has progressed a ton in recent years. So we actually know a lot about it. It is not expensive, but the system doesn't know enough about it. The educational fabric doesn't know enough. And I think we could do a lot more on that front that can help humans thrive and adapt and change. General qualification pathway is clearly not enough. You have a whole range of vocational pathways and alternate skill pathways. And actually what we hear from employers is they want people with skills. And degrees can be part of that, but there are other ways as well. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that in the future. On the skills deconstruction thing, I mean, we're totally supportive of that. I know the WEF is pushing the global skills taxonomy. I've got one challenge with it, but actually you can take the job roles out of an HR system of a company. You can deconstruct them into skills. You can say which skills will be impacted by AI and automation. This is the hard bit, is define the job corridors to say, all right, these skills are going to be taken up by automation. These other ones need to be reconfigured into new roles, and now we need to find the job corridor for the people. And so we do that for customers. It's actually not that easy. And you can see it. It's easier in technology where the codification of coding skills, for example, you could do that. When you get to something like nursing, with a lot of hands-on things, it gets a bit messier. And of course, in the world that we're in, these skills are going to evolve so fast all the time. And so creating something fungible and fluid is going to take some work.
Welcome to Ease Podcast, where minds ignite, exploring learning day and night. Educators thrive, young minds grow, in science, tech, and art skills flow. Natural pride to make us survive. Ease opening minds to future strive. Welcome to Ease Podcast.
This podcast is produced by EASE, the European network of STEAM educators, uniting STEAM educators from Europe and all over the world. This product may contain traces of artificial intelligence inside. Join us and find a handful of educational resources at easeeducators.com.